'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the house, the X-Men are stirring. We're talking Uncanny X-Men number 143. Hit it. It was 1981. Muhammad Ali retired. Simon and Garfunkel reunited for a concert in Central Park. Superman 2 was released. And Kitty Pryde found herself in the Alien franchise in the X-Mansion. I'm your host, Jerry D, with another episode of Totally Rad Christmas, the podcast that talks all things Christmas in the 80s. Toys, movies, specials, music, and fads. If it was gnarly during Christmas in the 80s, we got it covered. Now, joining me are two very special guests. You'll know them as the Caped Podcasters, Dave and Bryan. Guys, how's it going?
Hey, man.
Hey.
I feel like we're like out of place here because it's like we're talking the 80s here and like we barely caught it.
Barely. Oh,
That's okay.
Tail end by a lot.
Exactly. It's like we went out with a bang with the 80s, but feel out of place.
That's like totally 80s, though. You know, you got to catch it. Even
That's
if you
right.
Can.
You got to lean in and still own it.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. 80s to the max.
Absolutely.
Oh, man. How are you guys doing?
Good, man. How you doing?
You know, holding up. It's definitely been a winter here, more so than normal, which is definitely weird here in Texas. But yeah, we're doing pretty good. Our store's open. You know, I work at a Christmas store, so we're still open and getting ready for next season and all that. So yeah, fun times driving through ice. When you're not used to it.
That's the crazy part. It's like we're in Connecticut, so we're just getting dumped on left and right now.
Yeah. So this is like old hat
18 inches outside, and it's like, all right, I guess this is happening today, huh?
But it's just another February here.
That's right. Yeah. You're like, yeah, okay, I'm going to work. No big deal.
Yeah. I remember when I lived in Texas, it only snowed once the whole time I was there.
That sounds about right. Yeah.
The roads are more pale, I guess. So they stay cooler during the summer, but it just means that they stay cooler during the winter too. They freeze like nothing.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. The only good thing is like when the sun's out, it hits it just right so you can tell where the ice is. And you're like, okay, so
that's right.
so I know how to drive here. Don't accelerate here. Yeah. But
felt really out of place there when I'm driving through. That's like my Northeast brain going like, no, I know what I'm doing here. And I'm surrounded by people who can't drive on the best day.
Yeah, we don't know
conditions.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And if you ever gone to Houston, I used to live in Houston too, and it's even worse there. So
I don't believe it. No.
Oh, you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. Oh man. But thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Your Marvel mug.
Yeah. Well, you know, that's how I do it.
Yeah,
you got to dress up for the audible medium.
That's right.
That's right. Yeah. Visual jokes always kill on a podcast.
That's why we've survived as long as we have. If we were on Twitch, we'd be superstars.
That's right. Yeah.
It's unfortunate. It's like the carrot top of podcasts.
Oh no. You know what? As long as you got a Marvel shirt, you're okay. Or
That's
DC,
right.
I guess the Snyder Cut's coming out. You could work both ways.
I'm so fired up.
Really?
Really.
You're like the first person I've ever heard to say that.
Well, I'm on record multiple times saying that Justice League is a pretty good movie.
Oh,
it's pretty good.
you say that.
I saw the extended cut though.
Why?
Which filled in more gaps. It was longer of a good thing. But the thing that gets me about Snyder is like everyone's like, oh yeah, we're so excited for this movie, and then the movie starts. People are like, this is terrible.
Yeah,
this looks great, but it's terrible.
Well, that's the thing.
Yeah.
They always look amazing. You know, it's like you can't deny the guy's got like some pretty damn good taste when it comes to visuals.
Absolutely.
But that's really about it. That's kind of where it ends, unfortunately.
It looks great character-wise, though. Meh. So that's what paintings are for.
Well, that's that's true. That's true. And I think he did a pretty good job with 300 and even Watchmen, I'd say was pretty good.
I dare you to go back to 300.
It hasn't aged as well.
I don't know if I can. I don't think I can. In fact, it's definitely been probably a good decade since I've seen it. So yeah, it might be one of those.
It still looks great.
Well, I believe that for sure.
And that's where it stops. It looks real good.
Zack Snyder, exactly.
Is Faramir still narrating it?
Oh yeah, the whole time.
Okay, then I think it'll be all right. I like Faramir.
It's something, I guess. Just talking like this for a whole movie.
That's true. I liked his character though in Iron Fist. I think he was like the best part of that whole show.
I got to catch up on that one. That's like the one I watched first episode. I was like, okay, that was neat, I guess.
I kept giving it a chance. I was like, you know what? It'll get better. It'll get better. In season 2, it did finally start to get better.
Improved quite a bit. Yeah. I mean, it still was terrible compared to the other ones.
Yeah.
But yeah,
not up to par.
Yeah. I think David Wenham was my favorite part of it, but I like complex villains, whatever. Anyway,
absolutely.
Don't watch Zack Snyder movies.
yeah. Dark Side Smash. Something like
That's
that.
Gonna have a lawsuit attached to it, I'm sure.
Dark Side Hulk. They're both big creatures.
That's
I
all
don't
you
know.
need.
Is Marvel litigious? I have a feeling they are.
I don't know. I think this
Disney
kind of proves that maybe they don't really care too much.
They're like, it's okay. We'll let them watch that. They'll come watch our stuff afterwards. It's quite all right.
Exactly.
Disney's pretty litigious though, so
Disney
might be different now.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't want to find out.
I'd rather not.
Find out the hard way.
That's true.
Terry, I dare you to put the Disney theme song at the beginning of this thing instead of your normal, and we're just gonna find out. See what happens.
Oh, yeah. All right. Challenge accepted. No.
Oh boy.
That's
been the end of both our shows. This was
and
fun.
Yeah, it was nice knowing you, and it was fun while it lasted. But I asked you guys to come on because I really wanted to hear your take on this classic X-Men story. It was John Byrne's last official stint as penciler on the classic Claremont Byrne run, and of course, Christmas is my whole thing here. So,
oh yeah. So naturally, we're going to talk about a Jewish girl.
That's right. That's right. I ended up doing that the other day with Yuletide TV. I was a guest on their show, and they asked me to pick a show that I liked. And so I thought, well, what about the Goldbergs? Because it's 80s-ish,
Sure.
Yeah. And so, they're Jewish. And so I was like, let's do their Christmas episode. And it's mostly about Hanukkah. I was like, oh, okay, well, my bad.
It's pretty on brand for them. Believe it or not.
That's true. But it worked out. I think there's enough Christmas that we could call it a Christmas
qualifies.
Maybe
sure.
I don't know.
Good enough.
Yeah. There's a Christmas tree on the cover. Boom, you're done.
That's all you need.
That's it.
Christmas tree on the cover, Hanukkah miracle inside.
It's definitely. I gotta say, it's definitely an Alien ripoff. I mean,
100%. 100%.
So much so that I know John Byrne actually thought they might get sued about it.
He was prepared for it. And the crazy part was like reading it this time, because I did read it twice. Like John Byrne just drew Sigourney Weaver more or less this whole
pretty
time.
much, yeah. No,
a 13-year-old Sigourney Weaver.
Which makes that one line she says to Colossus like crazy creepy.
Oh boy.
Yeah, it's so bad.
I mean, I remember even as a teenager when I was reading this, feeling really uncomfortable reading that. Because she's 13,
dirty.
he's like 19 or something like that. If I recall.
Not okay.
He looks 30.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, it's Colossus.
That's right. I don't know what's worse, is her line to him of like, yeah, he goes sexy, or his line back of like, oh wow.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, I'm glad you.
Or Nightcrawler going like, good for
else.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Nightcrawler's line is the worst. Yeah. I may or may not be pulling that out later.
Good one.
Yeah.
That is a good one.
It's really a weird issue. I mean, so the whole thing is it's basically, they just come off Days of Future Past.
Right.
A couple of issues before that, they just finished the Dark Phoenix saga. So Jean Grey had just died, Cyclops left. I mean, it's like this whole thing. And then they tried to do like a playful issue and then turn it into like a nightmare, which kind of works a little bit. I mean,
sure.
I remember when I was reading this when I was younger, I felt really like tense and claustrophobic and stuff about it, as I was going through it.
Getting PTSD because you saw Alien.
that's true. Yeah. It was but it's at the same time they pepper it with all these like these jokes, and it's just it's weird. It's kind of an odd, little harsh transition there, at least for me.
Just a little bit. I'll give you that.
A little lighthearted for what seems like a horror book almost.
Yeah, and it's funny because it's like the only real reference to Jean Grey dying. They're like, and Jean Grey, she died.
She died. And
then they just move right along.
And that makes everybody else sad.
And that makes everyone sad. Yeah. Which, you think about it, it's like, yeah, I guess a 13-year-old would say that.
Yeah. Back to gymnastics.
So. Well, it doesn't seem, I think she even says something about like they're trying to turn me into like a female Arnold Schwarzenegger or something.
Yep. That's right.
There's a lot of weird lines in there that's just like, I don't understand Chris Claremont sometimes, because he can write like the most beautiful poetic thing, and then he has these weird lines and you're like, what is this dialogue that you're doing, man?
What are you doing?
It's just,
I don't know. Usually it's internal dialogue too.
Yeah.
Like that's where his strong suit is.
Yes, exactly.
Or his big teller, no shower.
Like who talks like that?
No
and
one.
I know it was the 80s, and, like 70s, 80s people, that was the style of comic books writing,
right?
But at the same time, it's like, come on, guy, no one talks like that.
No, I've always had such an issue with Claremont, just because it's more of like the novelization of the comic book.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
It's always like he wanted to write a real book instead.
Right. And then he told Byrne, he's like, throw in some pictures. And he's just like, okay.
It's no wonder it feels so claustrophobic. There's barely room for Kitty Pryde among all the words.
Yeah, there's just so much dialogue. Yeah.
And she's talking to no one. It's just her talking to
just
herself.
her. Yep.
For half the book.
Just the thoughts of a 13-year-old as she's being chased by, well, a xenomorph.
Right. Basically, yeah. The N'Garai, or I don't know how you say it, but N'Garai, whatever.
N'Garai, both times.
N'Garai, I don't know.
N'Garai. I don't know. That sounds creepy. Did any of you were you all big Claremont fans, Claremont Byrne, or like the Dave Cockrum run or any of that stuff?
This is literally the first Claremont I've ever read.
Oh, I gotcha. Cool.
Yeah. And everything I've heard was true. A lot of words.
He's definitely has lots of words. Yes.
Yeah. It's interesting because Claremont kind of shepherded the X-Men to what they would become.
Yeah.
He's an incredibly important writer.
Yes.
I can't stand him. Like personally.
It's so funny because the very first X-Men I read was when the X-Men #1 came out, along with Uncanny X-Men #281.
Mm-hmm.
Those were like when I really started collecting comics.
Sure.
And then I would go back and I picked up all the other, the previous issues as far as I could go, on like a fifth grader's allowance. But
sure. You got both issues. Neat.
Like, yes. But I remember reading this one. I remember the Brood when they were in space and them fighting, which, by the way, another like alien analog was the Brood, Dave Cockrum design, which I think is actually like a more clever design. They had the whole, they would implant an egg within you and then you would become a brood, member, I don't know, alien, I guess. You would serve the Brood Queen. And so, I mean, it's also kind of a take on Alien and Xenomorphs, but this one, I mean, there's clearly no comparison. I mean, it's literally
it is what it
Alien.
Is.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
But I remember, you're right. Claremont, he was like the one that propelled them to like
he saved the X-Men
status. Yeah,
he
really did.
He basically saved Marvel. I mean, he wrote the same book for 16 years and it became their best-selling book. Yeah. So, I mean, I respect him for that.
Yeah, I mean, that's why, like, in, what was it, 1990 or 91, they had, like, 1 million X titles, just basically because of what he built. I mean, of course, when Jim Lee came on, he started co-plotting as well.
Good.
And that's when Claremont.
It could be. I don't know. Which way do you go on that? Yeah. Some people say no. Some people say yes.
Yeah, Jim Lee's interesting. He's different. That's really all it is.
All new,
He's
all
not
different.
Claremont.
Well, that's true. And I actually like Jim Lee. So like when people talk 90s X-Men, that's like the X-Men that I know and love. And the X-Men cartoon came out in 94, 95. That was like really amazing. It was really close to the comics at the time.
That was my introduction to X-Men.
And I really dug it. Of course, knowing the history and then going back and reading like all this stuff. I mean, Carol Danvers is like a huge player in some of those X-Men comics there for a while, after she's depowered because Rogue basically steals her powers.
Right.
And then she
classic Rogue move.
Yeah. Rogue gonna rogue.
That's all she does. That's her move.
And it's like she became binary for a while, and she was like ridiculously powerful.
Yeah.
It's just a whole thing. Like almost everybody was an X-Men. Like, I mean, it kind of seems like Claremont was like, let's just see what we can get away with, and
for sure.
Mean, this proves it. This book proves it.
Should we just take the plot of a movie that came out 2 years ago and just run it? Yeah.
Do that same thing, but instead of Sigourney Weaver, make a Jewish girl who can phase.
Like a young Sigourney Weaver.
Atoms of air. Where are you going to put this? I don't know. In the X-Mansion. It'll be great. It'll be the best. Danger Room? Screw it. Kill it. We don't need it.
We can rebuild it.
We can.
We have the technology.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, that's all right.
Aurora, you're not mad at me? No, because that means I'd have to have character in this book, and this book's not about me, sweetheart. This is yours.
It's interesting, though, that at this point in the run that he's giving single books to just one character.
Especially Kitty Pryde. She's new.
Right?
She was pretty new. She debuted, I think, in issue number 129. It was around that the Hellfire Club saga that she came out.
She's kind of looked at as like, that's where Days of Future Past started. Like
Pretty
that's
much, yeah.
From, if you look in the trades, that's where it started.
Yeah.
Because they have to throw in more because it's really not that long.
It's not. It's 2 issues. It's literally 2 issues. So what else can we get away with?
They're 2 very good issues.
They are.
How are we going to sell this book?
You got to build this out.
We need it to be at least $19.99. Come on, guys. What do you got?
Our publisher, Mr. Goldberg. Do you have any ideas? I do.
It's one thing, I mean, because it does star her, and she was, like you said, she was brand new, but I think what he kind of does with her is something different than a lot of other teen characters from this era. Most of them are still just sidekicks. I mean,
right.
Even the Titans, they tried to be their own thing. They had their own, they had their own issues and stuff, but they were still pretty much seen as like Justice League light. They were just, led by Robin and here's, Wonder Girl and all that stuff. I mean, so I like what he does with her because it's kind of unexpected for a 13-year-old girl, to be basically surviving the elements. This is where I think a lot of people say she really became an X-Man with this issue.
I agree. And it's mostly at the end where it's like Kitty Pryde had a test. She passed.
Yeah. Subtlety is not one of his strongest.
No,
not at all.
He's good at situations. I'll give him that.
He is. Yeah. Yeah. And I know there was one thing that he was really terrible at, and I don't know if you've seen it. There's on Amazon Prime. It's like a free, something you can watch for free. It's like Claremont's X-Men or something like that. It's basically just him and like his editor and I think
Wheezy.
They just kind of talk. Yeah, that's right. Louise, what's her name? Shame on me for not knowing that off the top of my head. But anyway, it's them just like sitting down and talking, and basically they reminisce about different things. And she was saying, look, you always dangled plot threads like crazy. Like you left things up in the air and I always had to bring you back down. He was like, oh yeah. He'd come up with a new idea. He'd want to do something else. And she's like, well, what about this over here that you haven't resolved? And he's like, oh, okay. Yeah, I'll do that. Or like whenever he was stuck, she would just pull out a couple of the storylines that he never resolved. And he would just go from there.
People have been writing us and telling us you never finished this storyline, so why don't you work on that?
Right. Yeah. That's when J.J. Abrams got the inspiration for Lost.
Did you guys happen to read? And we'll get into the actual story in just a little bit. But did you guys happen to read the letters to the editor at the end?
I did it. I saw X-Mail, and I said, "That sounds too hot for me."
So one of them is actually by Kurt Busiek. Who
really?
Yes, yeah, and
that's cool.
Claremont's X-Men were going a little too dark, and even though he had been collecting X-Men since issue number 1, he was going to like stop. Basically, is what he says. It was too dark. It wasn't as fun and adventurous.
Was Kurt Busiek anything at this point, or was he just?
Nope, he was just writer, just a fan. Yeah,
X-Mail writer.
Wow,
isn't that crazy?
That's amazing.
Of course, he would go on to do famous for Astro Boy. Although I think my favorite Kurt Busiek is the JLA Avengers crossover with George Perez that they did. It was like
George Perez is a master of color.
Yes,
absolute master.
Yeah. Oh man, I love his Justice League run. I love his Avengers stuff. I mean, the dude he's good. Of course, he's real famous for him and Marv Wolfman coming up with the the new Teen Titans. But yeah, on the JLA Avengers, it's a great little miniseries there. It's quasi canon, I think.
He loves living in the quasi canon because that's pretty much Marvel's.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, yeah. Because I know a later thread in DC universe kind of picked up on the temporal egg that was created when Chrono was whatever.
Temporal egg is just a fun word. Just that. Huge fan.
What's for breakfast?
Temporal eggs.
You're making temporal egg.
Oh my goodness.
Go to the diner. How do you want your eggs?
I want them in the past. What?
They're high in density. Yeah. But yeah, so I thought that was a cool little Easter egg there at the end. Like, wait, is that who I think it is? And yeah,
that's awesome.
That's pretty neat.
But yeah, I guess we can just go ahead and jump into the issue. Essentially, it starts off with a recap of the very end of issue number 96.
Last time on X-Men.
That's right. Previously, yeah. And it's like literally like the last 2 or 3 pages of X-Men number 96, where Storm is sealing a cairn, where the demon like Kyrok or Kirok, again with these names, I don't know how to pronounce them. I'm just a
You're doing great.
Boy. And they defeat him, like he disappears literally by her closing this cairn and sealing it, or so Professor X thought. Turns out they didn't fully seal it. Dun dun dun.
No. Do they ever? Do they ever?
No, it's like death. It's not permanent. I mean, Pietro came back. Spoilers. Or did he? I don't know. By the time this drops, we'll know. But yeah, I mean, it's just they think they sealed it. Turns out they didn't. And one of these N'Garai demons, I don't know if they're really demons or if they're just aliens. I don't know how you want to play
Some sort of demon spawn, yeah.
Yeah, something like that. They immediately, one escapes and starts feasting on like some innocent people, which is terrible.
You're calling them innocent people. They were about to get hot and heavy there.
That's true. The guy said he did have some naughty thoughts. That's right.
He did say naughty thoughts. That's right. Just cut down this tiny tree.
This tiniest tree, because they live in an apartment.
Right.
That's right. And for some reason, like apartment was his trigger word. They took bedroom.
It did it for him. Yep. Oh man, it's but I do feel bad for them, because the dude's like, oh, we'll have plenty of Christmases to get like a real big tree when we get a house. And
yes. Nope. Famous last words.
Right. Then a good old MacGruber throat rip.
That's right. The thing that I think really is kind of terrifying, at least if you're there, is that it says that the demon not only feasts on his body but on his soul as well, and you're just like, oh man,
that's a bit much.
Sounds like it would hurt.
This poor dude.
Overkill. For sure.
Sure, eat my body, but come on, my soul.
That's all I got left. Come on.
It reminds me of Men in Tights, when she's made Marion actually accepts the sheriff of Rottingham's proposal. She's like, but you'll only have my body. You could never have my heart, my mind, or my soul. And he's like, yeah, I'm fine with that.
That's fine. That's cool. Fine.
Well, the demon does get to have it, unfortunately, for this poor couple.
Lucky demon, I guess.
I don't know. I don't know. The guy was pretty naughty. So
he was.
But of course, it segs from there with the cool, and it's a cool panel. The title panel with the demon kind of peering over it, and it's got demon, and
yeah, I like it a lot.
Big letters, and of course, then all the credits and stuff at the bottom. But cuts to Kitty Pryde, youngest X-Man, being, I guess, trained on Blackbird usage, or grilled, I guess is a better word, tested maybe, on the how to run the Blackbird by Professor X.
Right.
On Christmas Eve, no
Christmas
less.
Eve.
Of all
she's
days.
Jewish. It's okay. I mean,
come on, come on, Charles, give the girl a day off.
No, I was just gonna say, I love how Angel's just like, oh yeah, we all went through it. No worries.
This isn't even the hard part.
If anything, they should have been like, oh, we're all leaving here for Christmas Day. This is my buddy Eric. He's going to come teach you how to fly, whatever. Because he's not working tomorrow either. You guys can get Chinese together.
Which is funny because I feel Chinese. Because a few years later, Eric does take over.
Yeah.
They kind of cut to some of that lighthearted moment where, Logan wearing like this craziest outfit. I don't know what this dude's wearing. He looks like he belongs in like the show Dallas or something, like hanging out with J.R. Ewing, It's an odd outfit. I don't know. He's got a cowboy hat.
There's a bolo.
And there's a bolo. Yeah, I'm telling you.
It's very Canadian of him.
I don't know. It's not denim.
Canadian via Texas. I don't know.
Yeah. And there's so many pockets. Like the amount of pockets is like offensive almost. Is he going fishing?
It's a lot of people don't know. Rob Liefeld got a lot of his inspirations from this one panel right there.
That's right. And it's mostly because you can't see the feet.
Couches all over, no feet. But I love how he's introducing her to everyone, and then Nightcrawler. That little guy. He has mistletoe, and he just teleports in, gives her a kiss on the cheek, and teleports out. And Wolverine immediately tries to kill him with his adamantium claws.
Yeah, as you do. No chill.
Apparently, that was in response to Jim Shooter. It was kind of like a I don't know, a jab at Jim Shooter, who was Marvel's editor-in-chief at the time.
Editor-in-chief at the time, yeah.
And he wanted Wolverine to just be more, feral and just, brutal. And so they put this in on purpose. It's like the most ridiculous. And both of them, Byrne and Claremont, were like, this is the dumbest thing. But for some reason, it stuck.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Do you think Shooter is responsible for Wolverine's really stupid, strong sense of smell? I harp on it all the time on our show that is just the dumbest thing in the world about Wolverine is that he smells real good.
Smells real good.
It's true. He does. Yeah.
Man,
does that have something to do with the super healing? Like he just doesn't have bad sinuses like the rest of the world?
I don't know. But even here, like he could have just said like, no, Nightcrawler totally wanted it. I could smell it off him.
It's funny because Jim Shooter gave us, like the gem that is like Secret Wars, but then he also gave us like the new universe. So,
you take the good, you take the bad.
Yeah.
That's Jim Shooter.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. I don't know when it was. I think it was like in the early 2000s when they retcon, or maybe late 90s when they retconned that like Wolverine and like Wolfsbane and they're descended from like anthropomorphic wolves or something like that. Instead of coming from apes, they kind of
no thank
from
you
wolves. I don't know.
I'm out.
Yeah.
Amazing. No, that's just good writing.
That's right. Yeah. A fanfic. Oh, sorry.
Gesundheit.
Thank you. Yeah, it's some of the stuff they come up with is pretty ridiculous, but
they did go to space.
They did go to space. Yeah. On the other hand, Dark Phoenix Saga. So I don't know.
Man, there's so many hits. There's so many misses.
Yeah.
It's really a roller coaster all around.
It really is.
Yeah. So Wolverine takes a swipe at Nightcrawler, who teleports out, and Colossus, because we need to show everybody using their powers, he transforms and like just bear hugs Wolverine to try to get him to calm down. And then Charlie, he gives him the whole mind zap and calms him down again. And Wolverine has this great line about how like I thought I could change, or I don't know, I can't do a Wolverine voice, but tell Cyclops I made him a convertible. That's my best Wolverine line there.
Oh wow,
that's such a good line.
But yeah, something about how I guess I'll always be a killer or something like that. It's a ridiculous sentiment. Like,
also, I smell real good.
I smelled your poof, and I smelled the mistletoe. I knew it was happening.
I knew you were gonna do it. Yeah. So then that's when Kitty picks up the mistletoe and gives the that iconic
oh boy.
Yeah, that frame.
The Merry Christmas sexy line to
that
Colossus.
is there.
It's
there. Weird, but the way that it's written is Merry Christmas, period. Sexy, period.
And
made
Peter
sure to hit home on both.
That's right. And Peter just blushes. And sassy Nightcrawler has
of course.
a little zinger at the end. Oh. It's funny because Nightcrawler's like so happy-go-lucky in these.
He is.
And I love it. He's like the swashbuckling, elf, I guess. I don't.
Yeah, but here he's more or less just hanging out in like a subway or something. Like, yeah, do it. Was that
a Jared joke?
Yeah.
Too soon. But do we know where everybody else is going? Like they all just kind of leave.
Home.
They're going to the airport.
Home, away, out.
The car is ready. That's all I know.
Okay, yeah, I guess. I don't know. I just love how in the panel when everybody's leaving, you can see Colossus just like lifting Professor X and his wheelchair.
I am a ramp.
And he just puts him in the car.
Doesn't the man have telekinesis?
Do you think he like commanded him to pick him up?
Colossus?
I could use my mind to make my way over to the car, but instead I will make Colossus do it.
Listen, Colossus, have you ever seen A Clockwork Orange?
I like to keep my own dignity with me, thank you. You will carry me. Oh, man. And then Angel's just like, oh, I got a date later. And he just
might
takes
see you
off.
at Easter.
What's up with that?
I'm going to be out of here for several months.
Yeah, pretty much.
Provided Chris Claremont remembers to write me back in around Easter time.
Right. That's right. Yeah.
It's a gamble.
Oh, man. Yeah, this is a strange one because Cyclops, he'd left the team. He was kind of doing like a man on the road, got to find myself, I guess, kind of thing going on. And we get a glimpse of it because he calls. Like now at this point, Kitty's all by herself and he calls. And I love it because, she's like, oh, it's you. Like that. She's like, sorry. I mean, hi, Scott.
Oh, ex-leader of the X-Men?
Oh, wait, like the greatest X-Man ever? Oh, sorry. You're
not my parents. You remember me?
Yeah. And then she says that, yeah.
Do you remember me?
It's Kitty Pryde.
The answer right away should be, yes, I remember you. But Chris Claremont says, no, I need to write a whole paragraph first, and then answer the question that was posed.
There's a whole thing, and then it's like, of course I remember you, Kitty.
Why were you quiet for so long before you said that?
It's so weird that he calls because realistically he calls and it's just to get a tiny bit of character development for the grander arc of things of like, I'm on the road, but it might as well just be like a Dumb and Dumber, like, hey, it's Scott. Well, see you later.
It's world building.
Well, we do get an introduction to Lee Forrester here.
Yes, we do.
Who later
You're a girl.
Yeah. It's
classic Claremont.
Captain Obvious here.
I'll let you try again.
Oh, man. I love how Kitty literally is all by herself. And so she decides to it's Christmas Eve. She decides not to just hang out, watch TV. She puts on her costume,
suit up,
and decides to go work out in the gym. Why? I don't get it. Why?
It's Christmas in the X Mansion, and we're going to do gymnastics.
Jewish. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It doesn't make any sense.
What else is she going to do, I guess, really?
I don't know. It's a mansion. I'd go looking around, honestly.
Start peering,
right?
Just like,
you're there alone?
It's in that Foot Locker.
Whose is this? Oh, this is Wolverine stuff. Let me. Oh my
God! There's so many pockets. It's gonna take me days to get through.
I can't go through all these pockets. Even phasing. There's just no way to look at all these pockets. But she hears the alarm, and so she goes to check out. She checks the computer. It's like it's upstairs or whatever, zone 4. So she goes to check it out, and she in Aurora's, I guess, greenhouse, like
her
everything
attic.
is that what it is? Her attic? Yeah.
Do they just give her the whole floor?
I guess
awesome.
so.
Well, I guess if you're there, you put in enough time. They're like, yeah, take the whole attic.
Go be close to the weather, Storm. Go away.
Well, that's right. I remember a few risque issues there where, she would like pretty much be naked except for like the bands of wind kind of covering, the
that is risque.
Undimensional bits.
Also, how wind works.
That's right. Yeah. Can't see anything.
I can see Byrne just like, told you I'm out. I don't know the basic science here. This isn't working out.
Visible wind.
It's like, oh,
that's one of her powers.
So yeah, it makes sense. She'd be right up at the top floor. But when Kitty gets there, all her plants and everything are like dead and decomposed and gross. And then we get our first real glimpse of alienness where she kind of steps into some goo.
Not acidic though.
No, not acidic. So, you can't rip it off exactly.
Right. No, that's their defense. They go to court. They're like, nah, the goo was not acidic.
No, just goo.
No.
Just regular, run-of-the-mill goo.
Just goo. And see, that was an alien. This is a demon. So
right.
I mean
see,
come on.
Totally different.
It's like Vanilla Ice's defense.
You can't get it.
we added an extra duh.
That's right. Yeah. It's like
Chris Claremont often does.
No, Chris Claremont would have added like 24 more times.
That's right.
Oh man. But this is where she sees the alien, and pretty much at this point, or the alien, now I'm doing it. She sees the demon, and at this point, like it's pretty much just a nonstop, I'm chasing you, I'm gonna kill you kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Right.
We get a chase scene that lasts an entire issue.
Yep.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's all it is. And she's phasing through walls, which I actually thought John Byrne did a pretty good job of illustrating there, like part of her out and the other part on the other side of the wall.
He did some very cool things here.
Yeah.
And if you're not sure what it's supposed to be, it's explained underneath, like she is phasing through walls.
Yeah. I can see like Professor Xavier reading a Chris Claremont comic going like, what's the point of my powers? He's explaining everything she's thinking.
Yeah, it's all exposition. I haven't seen this much exposition and dialogue since like the Bloodsport movie.
Oh, don't. That's so good.
I love Bloodsport, but a lot of the dialogue is just everything that's happening on screen.
Exactly, with an occasional kumite thrown in.
That's right, yeah. She tries to outsmart it a few times here and there, ducking under stairs, things like that.
She doesn't page about her reaching for the phone.
Yeah, she really doesn't. And she gets her first like real scare because it swipes at her, and while she phases through, she still felt the pain from its claws.
I really like that.
That's pretty cool.
and so much so that it kind of incapacitates her right arm for a bit, which I thought
until it's convenient to not.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's how comics work. But I love how she says somehow that creature can reach me, hurt me, even in my ephemeral state. Like, wow, ephemeral state.
All right.
That's
how 13-year-olds talk.
That's right. I always heard it as intangible, but why not?
Why not?
Let's go.
She put out all those ephemerals on Colossus earlier, so I guess let's just keep going with it.
I was pretty ephemeral there, yeah. But yeah, I do love his dialogue here where he says, my guts feel like they've been twisted inside out. I feel sick. And then of course this is where classic Claremont, where he overdoes it. He goes physically and psychically. Oh man. It's so funny because everything that's going on. I mean, I've never been in like a situation where, an alien demon creature is like chasing me, but at the same time, I don't think I would be going through this much internal monologue as I'm trying to escape.
A lot of instinct's going to kick in here.
That's what I would think. Yeah.
Run. Just run.
Yeah, that's right. Just a lot of
what got activated?
As fast as I can.
My fight flitter is psychically got activated here. I got 3 senses. I'm an X-Man.
Oh no.
Oh no. But
I need a couple minutes to regroup and get my second wind, but I do not think I will get to them. That's normal thoughts when being chased.
Oh no, only one wind.
I can't even see it. The storm's not here.
The storm's not here.
The storm's not here. I left my talcum powder up in the attic.
But it's so funny. She goes to the danger room because, why not?
We got introduced to it earlier. Yes.
Yeah. Exactly.
Check off danger room.
That's right. Yep. So let's go back to the danger room. That's good foreshadowing. And she's like, all right, the creature will follow me in here. And then suddenly it comes in. She's like, oh, okay. Well, I guess the traps that I just set in the danger room will not work. or I'm gonna have to be there too. I don't know. I don't know. It's so funny.
Himself into a plot hole here, though.
He does,
because earlier he's like, "Oh, if it's just me, it can only be an exercise program." It's still just her when she's setting up these traps,
right? But she could phase through the floor, and now she's like, "Now it works." Also, I'm going to attack this thing with non-deadly things because it can't be deadly now because it's the danger room.
Can't run a combat workout. Right. Then I'm going to just set up all of this combat stuff.
So I'm going to delay this thing even more. Watch from the booth and not make a phone call.
Except as soon as the demon rips up the floor, then all of a sudden, that's it.
Oh, good.
All
now things will hurt.
Yeah.
I love how she says, like, he tore up the floor. Surely everything's fatal now.
Yeah, that's well, yeah. She's
a normal jump in logic.
She is a child genius. I mean, it makes sense. Yeah.
It makes a lot of sense.
If anyone would know, it would be her. Yeah.
That's why Bob Vila, whenever he's doing a renovation on any of this stuff. Guys, be real careful here. We're about to tear up the floor. Guys, we're going to need everybody to clear out of the house. This old house is coming down if we tear up this floor. It's deadly now.
All the safety precautions are being taken offline
today on this old danger room.
This old danger room. I love it. But she's like, except now if they can kill him, they can kill me too. Oh, man.
That's why they call it the danger room. They can't hurt me because I'll just phase. No problem.
Well, she does say that she'll have trouble against gas and like strobe light effects, or something like that.
Like that. Pyrotechnics.
Don't go to a rave.
I was going to say, I have an idea to kill Kitty Pryde. We're going to bring her to a Rush concert.
It's got all three.
It's got
gas, sonic attacks, and hallucinogenic light shows.
That's right. Rest in peace, Neil Peart. But
yes, as always.
Yeah. But she's phasing through things, except she doesn't count on a force field.
Of course.
Pesky force fields.
Nobody.
And she's like, I can go through this eventually, but I don't have enough time. So
right.
That's it.
So instead, I will duck.
Plan B next.
Nailed it.
Then of course there's like a mild fire, and she takes the opportunity to run and phases through the floor, which, I mean, that's kind of a cool thing where you can just phase through the floor, I guess.
Would have come in handy earlier on.
Well, makes sense because her power's not really
tap down and just drop down a little farther.
Well, that's true. Yeah, she could have just gone straight through.
She tried that on the stairs,
but then she stopped because she's like, "I'm clever. I'm Harry Pottering under these stairs. He'll never get me here."
The people under.
Let me use half a page to answer the phone.
It's just, ooh.
Yep.
But so yeah, she realizes, okay, this is the part that kind of got me. So she decides she's going to go to the Blackbird, and so it says that there's like a mile in between like the hangar and the mansion.
Right.
Like, was that always a thing? I don't remember that. I don't. And maybe I'm just being colored by the X-Men movies.
I don't know if
it was like
you are
out of like the pool or something, I mean, a whole mile. That's kind of.
It seemed like it was pretty close in the movies. Yeah.
It seemed like it was right there, but then she's just like, oh God, it's one MacGuffin away. I mean, mile away.
yeah, pretty much.
Better jump on the monorail.
The monorail. Yeah. She's got to go take a whole little monorail.
What is that?
A little tram.
What do we do with the monorail?
You know what it reminded me of?
Please stand clear of the yellow line.
Don't touch the third rail. It did remind me of like Voltron, when they would put the keys in and they would go down the little special thing.
Sure.
Oh yeah.
It was very Voltron. Of course, the Beast knows exactly how to derail a monorail and gets the cord.
I love how it's just like a one shot there, one panel. It's just like, hey, he shook it, I fell out, and then I ran. And I'm going to tell you how far I ran using two different variations of math. This is a meter, and this is how far a meter is in feet. You're welcome.
Yeah. But it's so crazy because they devote so many other panels to like so many other mundane things. And like, here's something that could have taken a lot more panels to show.
Sure.
Yep.
It's like, why are you inverting it, man?
Got 23 pages to fill.
They're like, come on.
That's all it is.
I wish I hadn't spent so much time on that phone call. I could really use it for the monorail chase.
You can just see, I just picture John Byrne being like, Chris, we're short. Like write something because we're short, man.
Yeah, no problem. You got it. Have you ever seen the movie Alien?
Should have had a monorail.
Monorail it is. But so she makes it to the Blackbird, and this is where she puts two and two together. Oh, it was kind of it was kind of repelled by fire. Let me use the thrusters to get it. I saw the movie Alien. I know how it works.
She actually says that.
And she does say that. Yes, she does.
I wish I had a big flamethrower like that movie. Wait, it didn't work in that movie either, but I know what did work.
That's a bold move.
No wonder they were worried about getting sued.
That's Chris Claremont being like, all right, guys, let's see how far we can take this.
That's right.
I'm Chris Claremont. You don't tell me. I wrote the Dark Phoenix saga.
He's just still using that as like leverage. Like, they're never going to get me. No one will ever get me.
Poor guy. He left pretty quickly after Jim Lee pretty much took over. But
yes, he did.
Which was a shame. I think I would have liked to have seen more of his ideas. But anyway.
I'd be curious for him to come back, like, modern time, like a deep dive. Give him a run. Give him a full run to just play.
Well, I know in, I think it was like 96 or 97, maybe, he did start that Extreme X-Men. And it was like where Storm had another team and they were going after like Destiny, going after her diaries. And supposedly they had all sorts of, predictions and stuff in there. So they were going after that. But yeah, it was okay. I think
pretty good.
Right. Well, by that point, I think comics had changed so much. Like the style of storytelling had changed so much that his style didn't quite fit.
I was gonna say, at that point also you're competing with, you got the indies that are up and coming with Jim Lee's, with Todd McFarlane's.
Yeah, the Spawn,
the Liefelds. I mean, you got to kind of throw everything you can at the wall and really hope it sticks.
That's true. And you know what? Marvel did quite a bit.
Yes, they did.
But so did DC. DC did as well.
DC did it so hard.
There was a lot of just throwing it. But I mean,
how bad do we mess up? We need to rebirth now? All right.
We just had a crisis. What? Another crisis? All right, let's go.
Yep, fine.
But I love how DC sticks with that plan. Just when things aren't quite working out, just add another crisis.
It works. It really does work every time. It's like, oh gosh, Rebirth didn't work out. A new 52. All right, I'm a genius.
Shut it down. Reboot it all. Let's go.
Yeah, Marvel, they just stick with their same continuity and they just start at issue number 1 again. They're like,
right. And they'll sneak in like no, this actually is not Amazing Spider-Man number 1. This is 373 now.
Yeah,
or whatever.
Yep, we're resuming again.
Oh, whoops. Yeah, consecutive.
Oh, man. Well, and it's funny because this was like that era. Well, I mean, when Claremont left and then came back, in the 90s, it was that era where everything was like crazy extreme, and
right.
You had the Spawns, you had so many guys with claws, you had so many like bionic arms, and
that's when you had Spider-Man with a skateboard. Oh no, that was Amazing Spider-Man. Yeah, 2013. That's what it was. My bad.
Oh,
that's right.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny, and I don't think it gets more extreme than what was that guy's name? Adam X, I think. I don't know if you remember him.
That is so extreme.
Yeah, he had like all those blades like everywhere. He had the backwards cap. He had like it was so ridiculous.
What is it, Ken Griffey Jr.? Are we going that hard in the 90s?
It was dumb. And there's a lot of dumb things in 80s comics as well, but that was dumb. I mean, come on, Marvel. So
Adam X.
There's dumb and there's fun dumb.
The X is for extreme.
Believe it or not.
So Kitty kills the monster Sigourney Weaver style with the Blackbird's jets. Of course, doing so, the Blackbird actually lurches forward and crashes
into a wall.
Imagine that.
So at this point, she's wrecked the mansion, she's wrecked the danger room, she's wrecked the Blackbird and the hangar.
After saying it's like, this is a one-of-a-kind plane that could go 5 times speed of sound. Nothing like it in the world.
That's right. A modified SR-71 Blackbird. Everybody comes back. They find her there. I guess she's had a shower because she's in a robe with the towel over her head. And,
right.
And surprise, they picked up her parents. And she pretty much tells Aurora, Storm, I kind of had to fight off a monster, and everything's wrecked though. Sorry about your plants.
She's so nonchalant about it. She's like, "Yeah, a monster showed up while you guys were gone, and I killed it." But
I would be mad at you if I wasn't so proud.
That's right. Yeah.
Wow.
And it ends with the burnt ash stain of of the demon there on the floor. Because I mean, why else? How else would you end this issue? It's perfect.
You got out. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas.
And we get the return of Cyclops.
Right.
Teaser for next issue. Of course, Claremont went on to so many other things. Like you said, he basically built the X-Men. He introduced them. What was it? The Siege Perilous, Madeline Pryor, and the Goblin Queen, like all that stuff.
It's funny because everything that was set up with the X-Men before, with Stan Lee and Kirby, it's like, wow, we're going to dive deep into these social issues. And then Claremont came around and was like, these guys got powers. This is going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of fun.
It's true. I mean, and it's it's funny you say that because he still touches on them, but it's nowhere near as on the note. Of course, Stan Lee is.
I mean,
yeah,
Claremont definitely has a Stan Lee kind of writing style to him because Stan Lee is a lot of tell, don't show as well.
Yeah, that's
because if you ever read like the original Spider-Man stuff, it's again, me and Bryan joke about our show all the time. It's like Randy Newman, left foot, right foot. Like he will, in great detail, tell you everything that's happening. Like I'm climbing up a drain pipe. I don't believe it. Like we can see climbing up the drain pipe.
We can see
you.
But that was the '60s, man.
That's right. That's right.
That's how they do it in the 60s.
That they had so much fun. Steve Ditko.
Well
known for his sense of humor.
Oh, man. So that's the issue. And, it is what it is. It's I liked it for the alien vibe.
Yeah.
But, it's not like a classic, I guess. I mean, it's just, hey, Kitty Pryde's an X-Man now. So
yeah, if you're really into Kitty Pryde, it's a great issue.
Yeah, and I know she's actually has quite a prominent role in like the current comics. Although I haven't been keeping up too much with X-Men lately.
Didn't they just like restart all of the X-Men comics or something crazy like that? Last year, they're just like, we're done with whatever lines we're doing. Hard stop, start afresh, or something.
Yeah,
like
something
I remember
like
hearing about that. They're like, we're only doing 2 lines, and then like a month later, they're like, there's 7 lines.
Yeah, well, that's standard X-Men.
Canny, we have X of Swords.
Of Swords, yeah.
Like House of X, with a
Marauders
team,
with an X,
red team, yellow team.
What does that even mean?
I don't know. Marauders. I don't know. And I love Jonathan Hickman, but I don't know. I haven't been able to quite get into this X-Men run yet. Although my brother loves it, he says it's amazing. So I think I just need to sit down and try it again. I mean, I like Hickman's Fantastic Four and Avengers runs that he did.
His Fantastic Four runs amazing.
Yeah. And I like what he ended up doing with Infinity. I thought that was great. And then, of course, he went on to Secret Wars, which was okay. But
I'll give you that. Do you have a favorite writer? Just hard stop.
That's a tough one. I like what Scott Snyder did with Batman. I really enjoyed.
That's a really good one.
I really enjoyed his run.
Yeah.
And I know we're not supposed to talk about Warren Ellis much anymore, but I love what he did with Moon Knight. His Moon Knight was great.
Yes.
I like the disclaimer. Like, we're not supposed to,
but it is like Moon Knight's best run.
It is, yeah. I think I'm pretty good about separating the person from the work.
The art?
Personally.
It's important to do.
Yeah. That's why I can still watch The Cosby Show and laugh. But, it's still, every once in a while, it's like you're watching, it's like, oof. Knowing what's going to happen, but still,
not on the show. I mean, it's just
right behind the scenes.
Hey yo, Roofy, like Bill.
Like I can still watch movies and go,
How did we not see it coming?
He's crushing it, but yeah.
Well, yeah, that's right. But I did love that Moon Knight run. Yeah, that was a good run.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have like, I think everybody kind of has like their strengths. Bendis has never been one of my favorite writers, but I did like what he did with Miles Morales.
Created him.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, so I thought he wrote him the best.
Yeah,
which he should, because he created him.
Yeah, that checks out.
Yeah. But it's different runs here and there are like my favorite. So what about you? Do you have like a favorite run?
I'm in a weird spot right now because anything Tom King touches is gold in my mind.
Tom King is good.
Just about anything.
Yes.
Then Dan Slott, his Silver Surfer run, I think, is terrific. And it's not terribly long, but it's like, all right, you just pulled off kind of a little bit of a miracle there.
He got a lot of flack for his Spider-Man run.
Yeah, he did.
There was a lot of that. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll give you that.
I'm still into Donny Cates a lot.
Donny Cates is very good.
He's got a very specific trick that he does a lot, but he's very good at it.
One trick pony.
You know what? Let's say I'd take it. Yeah, I mean, it just kind of depends on what we're talking about, what era we're talking about, what book we're talking about.
That's pretty fair.
I can't say I have like one specific favorite. Although my favorite artist for sure would be Jim Lee. Say what you will about his writing. I do love his art style.
His art's amazing.
His art is incredible.
Yeah.
Guy does motion like no one else.
Yeah.
By that. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I completely agree. Although the only thing I wasn't a fan of his was his Joker design in like Hush. It just, I didn't like it.
I have issues with it as well. It's goofy.
It's very
way
goofy.
Over the top. And I get that he's going for that, but maybe, pull it back just a little bit.
Exactly. Editing.
That's right. Will somebody please tell Jim to calm down? Gosh.
I feel like at this point he's got like so much clout that no one wants to say anything at all to
Nobody wants to touch that guy. Oh gosh. The last time we talked badly about him, he created his own comic book company.
That's true.
Us over. Jim, you're amazing. We love you.
Yeah.
Put more teeth in your Joker mouth. That's right.
that's why everybody in like the New 52 Justice League had a little collar. They just everything. It's like, come on, guy. Not everybody has a collar.
Not everybody.
But yeah, apparently they do. So oh man,
I like collars.
And I mean, again, going on tangents, but WandaVision, huh?
Oh man,
boy. Or do you want to open this Pandora's box?
I don't mind. Yeah,
I'm going to dive headfirst.
We can go into it real quick. Yeah, why not?
Give me your thoughts on what you think is going on. Because we are 7 episodes through at this point.
I mean,
I don't know when this is coming out, but as of today,
is coming out in 3 weeks.
7 episodes in.
Yeah, this is dropping in about 3 weeks. So
perfect.
It'll be over by that time. So we'll know exactly.
So everybody can hear our wrong theory.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Listeners, you can know exactly how wrong I am. I'm still not sure. I have a feeling, and I know because I don't want to say how I know, but I have a feeling Mephisto is still involved somehow.
Yeah,
I'm right there with you.
I just wish I knew exactly how. I don't know. It's driving me crazy. I think somehow he's responsible for creating the hex, but that's kind of where I end.
So that's where I'm kind of leaning to, because me and Bryan we just watched the 7th episode and just recorded our episode on the 7th episode.
Nice.
So our theories are just flying back and forth.
Yeah, they're alive.
And I think that Mephisto is taking on more of a Thanos role of what's happening here at the Hex, is that he's going to be the overarching villain of Phase 4. He's not so much the big bad of WandaVision. I do think Agatha Harkness is the big bad.
I could see that. I mean, at this point, there's only an episode left. So yeah,
right.
It's
but who the hell's
weird
Pietro?
To introduce. it could be weird to introduce a whole new villain at this point.
Right.
Or
by the way,
exactly what they're going to do because you don't expect it.
Well, that's true. This show has kept me on my toes. I got to say that.
Right.
Like, every time I think it's going one way, something else happens. It's like, oh,
I'm just expecting Kevin Feige do like an interview after the last episode. It's like, you guys ever see Alien?
Hey, Chris, come here. Let's write something for me. I thought for sure AIM was involved somehow when the beekeeper came out.
I was the only one saying that because there's so many hex references right off the bat.
Well, not just that, but then the beekeeper comes out from the sewer, and I thought, okay, it's got to be AIM. Nope. Not AIM at all. It was,
it
was a sword guy, and his stuff just kind of got flipped.
Yeah, if they pull out AIM now, it's like, what happened? You picked it up, you dropped it, you picked it back up at the end.
COVID. Write something.
Oh, okay. Yep, that checks out. No, I still am leaning heavy into Chthon.
That's Bryan.
I could see that. Yeah.
Yes.
Chthon. I can see that.
Is
it makes sense.
Quicksilver, Chthon. They've done a thing,
Yeah, that has been there. That's true.
And the Darkholds.
So I could see that for sure.
The biggest question I asked was, who is watching? Because they have openly said, as of episode 7, that the transmission has stopped.
Right.
But then you see openly Wanda talking to the camera, and Agnes is the quote unquote director of that, because it's always been her. Who is this for? Who is watching
if there's
what Wanda's going through?
Dead air.
I just don't understand who's watching.
Yeah, there's dead air outside the hex, but they're still doing new theme songs.
Producing. So. Right.
Well, which could be a lead up to maybe Nightmare, because I know she has a big role in
yeah, absolutely.
That's true.
Multiverse of Madness. And he's rumored. Is it confirmed or rumored? I think it's rumored, right?
I think he's rumored, yeah.
I think everything's pretty rumored unless it's Spider-Man 3, in which case it's in stone that everyone's coming back that's ever existed in the world.
I kind of hope so, actually. I'm glad. I liked Alfred Molina as Doc Ock. I thought he's
the best.
He's so good.
He's the best villain that Spider-Man's ever had. He's so good as Doc Ock.
Yeah.
He didn't marry Aunt May, and that's the only thing wrong with that movie.
Well, yeah.
Can you imagine Aunt May and Rosemary Harris
alone? She's a saint.
Well, except in this universe, Aunt May is Marissa Tomei.
She's hot. Let's just call it what it is.
So yeah, let's I'd be down for Aunt May. Yeah, for sure. I never thought I'd say those words ever in my life,
but here we are.
Yeah,
but yeah, that's it, man. Yeah.
Time is a funny thing.
Chris Claremont's broken us all in his own way.
Oh man, but it does make me, it does make me wonder. What would you guys say is your happiest memory or moment of this X-Men issue here?
I think honestly, it's my happiest moment from this issue was just remembering how good Alien is as a movie.
Nice. I love it.
I would say my happiest moment in this is I don't even want to call it innuendo, because it's not. Like, it's just outright weird what they went for and what they did. And they're just like, yeah, we're going to say this and then bail. Just get out of it.
That's your favorite part.
My favorite part of this, because it's so weird and so different that it's like, why would they even bother? Why would they set anything up like that and just pull out, whatever, doesn't matter. It's
so funny because
weird.
There is like an on again, off again, will they, won't they kind of thing with Kitty and and Colossus, like throughout all the years. And
there is, but it's more of like a kick-ass thing of like, you're too old, you're too young. Yeah. Maybe.
How about it? But then,
I know it's taboo, but we're mutants. Laws don't exist. What?
I think it's still statutory either way.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know, because they're technically not human. So I guess Dan's laws wouldn't have. I don't know.
You know
let's
what?
not go
That's
there.
And
on that
note,
note,
see or whatever. I'm curious now.
Yeah, I don't know how it would work in court. But anyway, it's like a long running thing that they get together and then they don't, and then they get together and then they don't, and so it's kind of neat to see the seeds planted this far ahead, but at the same time it's like creepy the way that the seeds are planted.
Creepy.
So.
But it is my favorite part, just because knowing what happens after, you're like, yeah, that's kind of fun in a horrible, gross way, I suppose.
Yeah, for me, I think it was, as far as like my favorite moment, or I'd have to go with Cyclops, just because he's my favorite X-Men. And so,
sure.
So even though he's not in the comic, just his whole little panel of hey, say hi to everybody for me, kind of a thing. I think that's my favorite part. So.
I exist. Don't forget.
Hey, readers, remember me?
I have not written out of the book yet. No matter what you think. But yeah. But now we come to my favorite part of the show, which is a little segment I like to call Gag Me with a Spoon. So this is where we do our best impression of our least favorite part of the issue. And I'll put it up to the voters, and winner gets a totally rad Christmas sticker, unless I win, in which case I get nothing.
Give you a big old high five.
Yeah, that's right. Self five.
That's right.
Now, as a guest, I'll let you go first. Just kind of set up the scene for us a little bit, and go from there.
Oh, I'll gladly go first.
Go for it.
A gag me with a spoon moment. I don't know which pocket to reach into to pull it out of. That's the real problem with it, because it's everything Wolverine based.
Everything nice.
Everything. How he pops into this thing for reasons. I guess to remind you that he's a character in this, and he does his usual Wolverine. But I think my favorite part is when Professor Xavier just mind warps him in a way, like
yeah.
And he says, "Wolverine, sheath your claws. Kurt meant you no harm. You know that his was an innocent Christmas greeting, not some enemy's attack." And I love how right away Wolverine's like, "I'm obliged, Charlie. Your telepathic mind touch did the trick. I'm calm now. Everything's cool. Misfit, Kurt, I'm sorry. I lost my head. I guess the old ways, the old habits, die a lot harder than I figured."
That's a good Patrick Stewart and a good 94 X-Men cartoon Wolverine.
Yeah.
That's my Wolverine.
Good mix of the two. Yeah.
That's good.
All right. What about you, Brian?
My favorite, or I guess my gag me with a spoon moment, is when they go out to the car and they're like, "Oh, it's a very clear night. Did you do this, Aurora?" And she's like, "What good is being a mutant weather witch if you can't conjure up a crystal clear Christmas Eve?" And I'd argue that is the only night that it's okay to just let it snow.
I'm dreaming of a clear.
Like, come on, really?
Oh, man. A mutant weather witch. Why would you call yourself a weather witch? I mean, I get it if like bad guys are called, like people you're fighting call you that. I'd get that. But why would you call yourself that?
Like the only time that's appropriate is like, "Oh, this is News Channel 12 from Salem, Massachusetts. Your weather witch."
on Halloween. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Oh man. Well, those are both great. I got to follow it. So for me, I picked Nightcrawler.
Yeah.
So this is right after Kitty kisses Colossus and he's blushing, and Kurt, and I'm going to try to do my best Alan Cummings German Kurt Wagner here.
You got to get in the mood. Set
yeah,
the mood
that's right. Okay. Good thing you only kissed him on the cheek, kitten. Anywhere else, and he'd have probably dropped dead from shock. That's terrible. I can't do it. Shock? I don't know. But that's terrible. Oh man,
it's a bit of a Scottish one. Scottish Nightcrawler.
Scottish. I will leave it up to you, listeners, to vote. And I think you guys are okay though, because I've done this for I don't know how many episodes now, and I still haven't won yet. So
oh wow,
your German was perfectly Scottish.
It was perfect.
Shooing for this one.
Welcome to All Things Scottish.
There's your Patreon. You're welcome.
That's good. Oh man, but I do have to know for sure. So I got to ask. G.I. Joe, they taught us that knowing is half the battle. What do you guys think is the other half?
The other half is that the demon just wanted to be friends. That's it. He was just crashing through walls like, "I just want to be your friend. Stop running away. Stop phasing out of everything."
He just wants a hug.
Love me.
Half the battle is embracing the demon. I think the other half of the battle is, getting in your gymnastics, because you never know when you're going to have to run away from
when you're going to need it. That's right. Better make sure you're the female Arnold Schwarzenegger. Right. Yeah.
Circumstantial warm-ups.
Circumstantial warm-ups. That's the best way to put it.
I like that. Yeah, those ones are both great. For me, I think if knowing is half the battle, the other half is killing an evil creature with the ship's thrusters.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep. It's the way you got to go out.
Absolutely.
Oh man. Dave, Bryan, it's been a blast talking with you about this and about, just comics and stuff in general.
Yeah.
What do you want to plug? Tell me about your show.
We're the Cape Podcasters. We do a weekly show about superhero movies and comic book movies. And you can find us at capepodcasters.com, and we're on every streaming platform, wherever you listen to podcasts.
Right on. Short and sweet. I love it. And you guys on social media?
Oh yeah, we're at Cape Podcasters on every social media.
Cool.
Keep it concise.
Yeah.
We try a little hard.
It wasn't
like
a hard name to get.
No, you're right about that one.
I had to on Twitter. It's funny. I had to shorten "Totally Rad Christmas" to just "Rad Christmas" because it was too long. It wouldn't let me do it. So it was like okay. So now it's like I guess
I'll be Rad Christmas.
It's like I gotta tag
right.
everything like "Totally Rad Christmas" and "Rad Christmas" just to make sure it
right
cover all the bases.
It's like all right, guys. But yeah, for sure, check out their show. It's so much fun. They've done the WandaVision mini episodes as well, which are great, and I can't wait for them to do the recaps on all the other Marvel shows, Falcon and Winter Soldier especially.
It's coming.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to hear those as well, and it's just they're a lot of fun. I know the Dick Tracy episode is great.
It's a good movie.
Stuff.
It's a fun movie.
It is a fun movie. Yeah, I mean Al Pacino is as a big boy Caprice.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
please.
good.
Oh my gosh, so good. I should have done Pacino for the Charles Xavier voice.
As a Wolverine, Pacino Wolverine. Yeah. I could see it.
He's not your enemy.
It's a funny story. When Dick Tracy came out, we got really into, my brothers and I were like really into Dick Tracy. We collected the toys and everything. And so I remember going to see it with like my cousin who was older, that he was like, I think about 15 years older than us at the time. And all of us, we loved it. And, we were just gushing about it. Like, oh, this happened. And what about that? And we loved it. And my cousin was like, yeah, it was okay. And we just couldn't believe how he was like, what do you mean? Like, it was great,
Baffled.
Oh, it didn't make sense to our tiny little, brains that no one wouldn't love this movie. So.
Right. We get it all the time now. And the internet's made that even more obvious.
Oh, I know. Yeah. That's everybody now.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But
it's one of those things you can make like the most concise argument for an hour and a half. And I'm speaking from experience for an hour and a half and really hit every single point. And then someone's just going to write, nuh-uh.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Nailed it.
You just
Great
don't understand.
You got me, I guess. All right.
Oh man. But speaking of Zack Snyder, no, I'm just kidding. Oh man. Yeah. But on that note, let me just thank y'all once again for coming on.
Oh, thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us. This is a lot of fun.
And I'll end it by saying, alone on Christmas Eve, Kitty Pryde underwent a rite of passage. And you can too by checking us out on our social media pages, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And if you're feeling as proud as Aurora, leave us a review on iTunes. Not only does it help us reach more people, but you also get a free sticker. Now, don't forget to vote. Later, dudes.